Hi, my name is Ryan Townsend, and my presentation is about Lawrence Kolberg and his stage theory of moral reasoning. Lawrence Kolberg is a 20th century psychologist whose work and practices revolved around his theory of the stages of moral development. His work used Jean Piaget's work as a staging point that he extended upon nearly 25 years later. Kolberg used the idea of moral dilemmas to teach 10 to 16-year-old boys about morality and values. The best known of these dilemmas is known as the Heinz dilemma, which focuses on the idea of obeying the law versus saving a life. After showing and recording responses to these dilemmas, he categorized and placed people in the different stages of moral reasoning. There are three levels of moral reasoning: pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional, each with two substages. Each stage replaces the reasoning common of the earlier stage, and not everyone achieves every stage. Level 1 is pre-conventional, typically around 9 years of age. At this level, we as individuals don't have our own moral code or compass, but rather our moral development and guidelines are dictated by our authority figures, such as our parents or teachers. The two substages of pre-conventional are Stage 1, obedience and punishment orientation, which typically is how can I avoid punishment, and Stage 2 is individualist/relativist orientation, which has children asking what's in it for me. Level 2 is the conventional level, which is most adolescents and adults. At this level of reasoning, morality is tied to the child's personal and societal relationships. Children still listening to authority, however, Children still listen to authority, however, now they are using these interactions to learn how to best create better relationships in a more structured societal personal order. The two substages of conventional are good boy/nice girl orientation, which has the children exploring social norms and has them acting in a good manner just so typically they can be seen as acting in a good manner or as a good person. Stage 4 is maintaining law and order orientation. Here, children learn the wider laws of the world and uphold them to avoid guilt of breaking them and achieve what one is quote unquote supposed to accomplish. Level 3, which is the post conventional level, at this level, our morality has been shaped by more abstract values, typically self chosen, and we begin to weigh our own principles and opinions as important, even if it conflicts with the societal and social norms. Those who reach this level can typically see rules as useful but subject to change if needed. The two substages of post-conventional are Stage 5, social interaction, or social contract orientation. The world is viewed with different opinions and values, and these perspectives mutually respected to each other unique person or community. Basically, that everybody is develops individually. Everybody has their own moral codes, and we need to respect the fact that everybody has their own developments and moral codes. Stage 6, universal ethical presentation, which at its base form is principled conscience. Both Kolberg's methods and theory have both come under scrutiny in a multitude of veins. Some of the key criticisms are as follows. His dilemmas are artificial. This criticism points out that dilemmas shown to the target age group are not conducive to the individual experience of the sample group. Testing a 10-year-old whether they should save the life of their wife or obey the law is not an accurate means of assessment, as the 10-year-old would not have relevant marriage experience. Hopefully not. His dilemmas are hypothetical. Continuing this notion that the dilemmas do not provide accurate information comes from the criticism that all of his research that Kolberg used should be questioned, as its source is based on samples using an artificial and hypothetical scenario that does not fully correlate to the experience of a person who experiences the dilemma firsthand. Third, the correlation between acting and thinking. Kolberg's studies revolve around specific influences in the moral development of children, but does not address the correlation between acting and thinking and how it can be influenced by the external factors such as peer pressure or habits that are developed over time. Despite these criticisms, we can still unpack the stages and use them to understand moral development and how we can apply that within our classroom. Stage 1, obedience and punishment orientation. Here, students will be looking to avoid punishment. Therefore, we should establish rules and procedures and rehearse them with our students. Stage 2, individualist/relativist orientation. Students will often wonder why we are teaching or what we're teaching, but here we can also be very clear with the research and assessment of each assignment when we assign them. making sure students understand why we're teaching them what we're teaching. Stage 3, the good boy, nice girl orientation. How a student is perceived by their peers and teacher is vitally important to most slash every student. And constant feedback and pointing out student success here can be a great motivator and trickle effect that can help students create the same goal of success. Stage 4, maintaining law and orientation and order. Students will look to the bigger rules of the world and how to best succeed. Once again, here we need to be very upfront with our rules, procedures, and now our rubrics, as showing a student how to succeed in a clear method can help students achieve the grade they are seeking. Stage 5, social contract orientation. Students are going to have their own ideas and morals. Here, we as educators need to be open to discuss and utilize the points of views of all of our students and incorporate them into our class, discussions, rapport with the student, and our overall curriculum. Stage 6, universal ethical presentation. Students will act by what they believe to be right and just. Therefore, once again, we need to be upfront and honest about our expectations and rules in the classroom. However, we need to be ready for when students challenge these rules based on their own beliefs and be ready to stand by our rules or adapt them if they are a negative influence on a student's learning. Be humble, be realistic, and understand when we're doing something right, when we're doing something wrong. Here are my references, and I wanted to just thank you for listening to my presentation.